Welcome back to Pack the Rock podcast with the Hoosier Network. I'm William Stewart. Alongside me, the Rook, Ian Plaskoff, and across from me, as usual, Ava Wegenke. And is Nick wearing the same shirt as last week?
That's 2 weeks ago.
Nick Rodecap knows how to do his laundry. Breaking news. Indiana last week won 56-9 over Kennesaw State. But before we get into that, we'll go around the room. How are we feeling today?
Just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
Oh, yeah, great.
It's a podcast.
Feeling good. Yeah, feeling good. Very excited to be on the call for this upcoming week. First radio football broadcast. So
Quick
looking
plug,
forward to that.
WIUX 99.1.
Yep. So that's kind of taking over my week, but I'm feeling good, feeling happy about it.
How's the opposing counsel feeling over there?
We're chilling.
Feels good.
We're at Starbucks.
Thinking about both kinds of Indiana football because I'm on the call for Big Ten Plus, IU Michigan men's soccer, Saturday night, 8 o'clock.
Newest number one team in the country.
Number one Indiana. Number one Indiana, I'll tell you what.
Best team at Indiana.
Quest for 9, Austin Platt. This one's for you.
Big ups.
Shout out Austin Platt.
Big ups to the old exec director, who's probably not going to watch this, but maybe we'll send it to him.
We will.
We'll clip it.
Yeah, we'll send it to him. Don't worry about it. Anyways, back into the actual American football. Indiana won 56-9 last week over the Kennesaw State Owls. They moved to 2-0. Some of the main statistics. Fernando Mendoza, I almost just said Alberto, but I corrected myself before I said it. Fernando was 18-25, 245 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 66.7 QBR. I don't know what he has to do to get that up. The team's rushing attack, they had 38 carries for 316 yards and 3 touchdowns on top of that. Lee Beebe was the leading man, 11 rushes for 90 yards and a touchdown. Omar Cooper Jr. certainly helping out the counting numbers. He had 1 jet sweep, go for 75 yards and a touchdown. Roman Hemby was 9 carries, 64 yards, and Kalon Black, 10 for 57. The highlight player of the game was Elijah Surratt because Waffle House was always open on Saturday. 9 receptions, 97 yards, and 3 touchdowns with an IU celebration to cap him off. The defense had 16 players record a stat. Number 1 was Kellen Wyatt, with the leading tackler, 9 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, also led the team in that category. Lewis Moore, the man who continues to get 2-week extensions, which he's got another one. He's going to play 2 more games until they maybe make a decision on his court case. He has 7 tackles and a tackle for loss. Aiden Fisher had 7 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a sack. And Mikhail Kamara, the monster in the middle, 2 tackles for loss and a sack to cap off his week against the Owls. What were some of the initial takeaways that we had from week 2?
It looks like Indiana is much more comfortable. I think that's safe to say. Fernando Mendoza looked like a completely different player in week 2. The offense, the playbook started to open up. Defensively, having 14 tackles for loss in a game with 2 turnovers has got to feel pretty good as well. Now, Signe did talk about some communication issues in the back end with the safety group and the linebackers that need to get a little fixed, but it's still early in the season. I do think this Indiana team looks a lot more comfortable.
Apparently everyone agrees.
I agree with that completely. Mendoza had a day. The defense looked great. I really am liking this running back room right now. I think they're really starting to kind of fall into place and hit their stride. I mean, obviously we know there's a lot more pieces to this team that could get better. They'll say that all day, but I liked the jump from week 1 into week 2, and I'm interested to see what the jump into week 3 will be.
I'm concerned, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of the score. I think the concerning thing for me is that Indiana gave up 4 consecutive drives of 44 yards or more. And Kurt Signetti talked about it, how kind of Omar Cooper's reverse following, I think it was Lewis Moore's interception. It was one of 2 picks.
No, it wasn't. It was following Sharp's getting beat and then strips the receiver.
The peanut punch.
Yes.
That kind of flipped the game. And it's great that Indiana has been able to capitalize on turnovers so far. But the thing that's concerning is that Kennesaw State was able to gash Indiana's secondary multiple times. And now Indiana buckled down defensively in the red area, held Kennesaw State to 3 field goals, and then Jamari Sharp forced that fumble on the last drive of 44 or more yards. But I feel like Indiana's secondary is very weak right now. Obviously, the injury to Bryson Bonds does not help there. But that's the question mark for me. That's kind of the head scratcher. Is Kennesaw State, one of the worst FBS teams in the country, was still able to, after 4 really rocky possessions to start the game, was able to move the ball. So that's something I think Indiana absolutely needs to iron out going forward, especially because Luke Altmaier is a lot more efficient at quarterback than anybody Indiana's going to see either in the first 2 weeks or coming up on Friday against Indiana State.
What?
I know it's a shocker, I know, but it's absolutely something to be mindful of. I feel like if there's one weakness for Indiana against Illinois, it's the secondary.
Yeah, and the one thing that surprises me, the fact that the secondary is having communication issues is really just like, of all people, Howard, line up over the receiver.
It's a lot of old guys, too.
It's a lot of experience in the backfield. And it's not, they said the call is getting there. They said it's not Haynes or Fisher issue. It's just we're not lining up.
Yeah, and that's
why they're not doing that, I don't know. Because Sharp did it. I think Sharp did it twice. There was the play where he got beat,
right,
and stripped it, and there was a play in I think it was the second quarter, I want to say, that Kennesaw, they just lined up, and there was a good 5 seconds where Sharp was just standing in the front 7, and the backside receiver who beat him on that same play was wide open, had his hand waving, and he was just gone. And I'm like, where is Sharp? Isn't he supposed to be guarding that guy?
Yeah, and again, Jamari Sharp's a veteran. He's been here since Tom Allen was here. I feel like these are just things that either they didn't happen last year or they were so negligible that they didn't have an impact on the game. But that's...
No, because I don't even think it happened last year because it's kind of... I mean, you would notice if there's a corner just not lined up over the receiver.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to miss that obvious thing happening. So I don't know what's going on in the backfield. Sig didn't really give us an answer on how they're going to fix that. It's just that it's not Fisher or Haynes' problem.
Right.
The other thing to note is yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, whenever you're watching this, Tuesday afternoon is the player press conferences. We did not get to speak to a defensive player. That usually means the entire defensive unit is in the doghouse of some sort. So something's going on in practice. We don't know what. We can't speculate, obviously. But we were told that Cignetti is not happy with the entire defensive unit.
Yeah, and again, if you're box score watching, you're thinking, oh, Indiana only gave up 9 points, gained almost 600 total yards. That was a really complete game. And score-wise it was, but it was just, the offense was great, but the defense just doesn't seem up to the same level as it was last year. There's a lot of miscommunication. You go back to week 1, 2 busted assignments from Old Dominion, or against Old Dominion, leading to massive quarterback runs for touchdowns. That stuff just didn't happen last year. And, you would say it's a bunch of new guys, but this defense returned a lot of players. So it's a head scratcher for sure.
This was talked about after Kennesaw State. You were thinking Indiana's up by 40-plus points. Why are starters in the game, both on offense and on defense? It's because of reps. That's the whole point of scheduling a non-conference schedule like Indiana has scheduled. I know Indiana gets a lot of flack for just scheduling Kennesaw State, Old Dominion, Indiana State. It's not a strong non-conference schedule. That's acknowledgeable and it's correct. But Indiana needs that time for its players to adjust and get those extra reps because first game of Big Ten play is arguably the biggest one of the year in Illinois at home, ranked game at night. So defensively, it allows for time, and I think that's going to be huge against Indiana State. I think starters are going to play regardless of the score for maybe until 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter for this very reason.
That's fair enough. I think you could argue that the Illinois game is the biggest game in program history at home.
I would agree.
At the Rock, for sure. I don't
Bigger
know about
than Michigan 1987?
What?
19.
That was when Indiana beat Michigan for the first time ever.
Fun fact, my mom was at that game as a student.
Yeah. Bigger than Michigan last year when Indiana got to 10-0?
I think it's got to be.
This is the
Michigan,
I
because
think
Michigan,
it's
they were
gotta
still
be.
expected to win, right? You look at, just in a preview sense,
Yeah.
I'm saying the Illinois game is the biggest in program history in that sense. Obviously, there's games that have had bigger, I don't know what the word I wanted.
Implications?
Yes, and that's exactly the word I wanted.
Bigger than Michigan 2020?
I mean, I would think so. What would be your argument on that one?
Let's see. Well, Michigan had a down year and it was COVID, so yeah.
That was the
argument's
Joe
out the
Milton
window
year,
there.
wasn't it?
year.
Yeah.
This is the first ever ranked matchup at night at Memorial Stadium. Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium.
And it also opens the Big Ten.
That too.
This is
Yeah.
and this is it's coming off the playoff year. It's coming off is Indiana decent? Can they actually win ranked games? Because the one ranked game they had, they lost to Ohio State.
Well, and if you want to count Notre Dame, that game, the final score was close.
I would say that's
Yeah.
the biggest game in program history.
Yeah.
Just in general,
And Indiana,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
After Curtis Rourke threw that pick and Jeremiah Love ripped a 98-yard touchdown run, it was over.
98 was a dagger.
It was over. I wonder, and we're going to go into the SEC world of hypotheticals, if Curtis Rourke doesn't throw that pick, Indiana has a chance, I think. Because in the greater context of that game, Indiana actually did a good job holding Jeremiah Love quiet. If you take out the massive run, all else equal, it was a pretty good game for Indiana. But I wonder about that sometimes.
Knicks Roman Empire is Jeremiah Love's 98-yard touchdown, which is fair enough. But again, I do think the Illinois game is probably the biggest preview in Indiana program history. You can argue with me on that. Opinions are opinions. Now, before we move on to week 3, and obviously I'm sitting here talking about week 4, I'm putting all of you on the spot. Do we have a favorite moment from week 2? It can be anything. It can be someone saying something in a press conference. It can be a play. A favorite moment.
I'm going to break the rules. I have 2. One
There's
is
no rules. I'm just starting this out of
the
nowhere.
hypothetical rules.
Oh, no.
First one is on the field in actual play, and it was Jamari Sharp's strip forced fumble. It didn't look like a punch. It looked like he just grabbed the ball out of whoever's hand. I don't remember who
I think
had
it
the
was
ball.
but
But
11 or
that was big. It turned the game. Signetti talked about that post game. But off the field, Fernando Mendoza celebrating Alberto's touchdown pass was just
That
a
was my
very
moment.
cool thing to see. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody like have such an emphatic clap of their hands as Fernando Mendoza. Like there was some real strength put into that celebration.
That was my moment. It was such a nice little brother moment. It was very cute. And very exciting for the both of them. And I thought that was definitely a big highlight of the game.
I was a fan of Kurt Signetti saying he was going to go drink a beer.
I knew that was going to be yours. I knew it.
I'm surprised neither of you brought it up because I thought Sig saying he's never relieved, he's only relieved when he cracks open a beer. That's very on brand for him.
Yeah.
But also it got a nice laugh out of everybody in the press room, and I think, I think the same could go for any of us who are 21, and that's an important thing to say. I could use a nice Miller Lite, not right now, but after I'm done making the package on Saturday night, sure. Or Illinois, Saturday night, sure. I'd enjoy a nice, I don't know what beer Sig drinks.
I think I heard him say Two-Hearted on the way out, but he can only have 2.
He had what?
Is that his wife's rule?
I don't know.
I'd assume that's...
I think I'm like, okay, don't like quote me on this, but I think that I heard him like telling a reporter who was like, oh, what do you drink, coach? On like his way out the door with his wife, he was like, oh, Two-Hearted, but only 2.
Never heard that in my life.
I don't know. Nick,
me
I
neither.
didn't say that because I knew you would say that.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
So today I've learned about a new beer because I've never heard of that. A Two-Hearted?
You've never heard of a Two-Hearted?
Never heard of
I haven't either.
Bell's Two-Hearted. It's an IPA.
It's an IPA.
I was it has to be an IPA.
Ugh,
That's a great
IPA.
start.
Made in
Kurt Signetti drinks
Michigan.
IPAs.
It's pretty good,
Ugh.
Now
guys.
see, that's not on
The
brand.
aftertaste is
It's
so
a heavy beer,
bad.
though. It's heavy, but it's good.
Ugh. IPAs are for folks in Broad Ripple. I did not. Kurt Signetti does not strike me as an IPA drinker. I'm surprised.
Nick's disappointed.
If I
Nick's
did
Wednesday.
really hear it right, but I think that is what I heard. I think.
So now we have a new question to ask Signetti at some point in time, maybe after the Indiana State game. And just for reference, the last time that brothers even threw a pair of touchdown passes was in 2015. It was Brandon and Austin Allen playing for Arkansas against UT Martin
UT Martin.
on
Wow.
October
The
31st,
Skyhawks.
2015.
Shout out Keyshawn Pipkin, former North Central wide receiver, my Little League teammate, who is now a wide receiver at UT Martin.
Jaron Bowling,
Little
rebuff
League.
Jesuit legend,
Wow.
tight end at UT Martin.
There we go.
Indiana high school football strikes again.
Here we go.
All reliable. Just
Oh,
back
yeah.
to the. I don't even know how you say your height. Brebuff?
Brebuff.
Yeah, I can't
Brebuff.
even say that.
Yes.
Brebuff Jesuit Preparatory School.
And the Mendoza brothers are also the first pair in Big Ten history to throw a pair of touchdowns in the same game. Now on to this week. The new AP poll.
Oh,
Oregon
boy.
and Penn State still 1 and 2. Oregon up to number 4. U of I up to number 9. And Michigan drops to 23. And right in front of Michigan at 22 are the Indiana Hoosiers.
I will defer my opening statement to Mr. Rodecap.
I mean, I said this on Twitter yesterday. There's a whole debacle about a voter who covers USC talking about how she doesn't want to go into her logic on how she votes for teams after she moved Florida up 2 spots following the Gators' loss to USF at home while keeping USF unranked, among other things. Look, I think, and I said this last year, the methodology of the AP poll is inherently flawed because you have a bunch of people who cover one team who are somehow supposed to assess the 25 best teams in the country. And if you're going to have people voting based on vibes, based on brand bias, which she's far from the only one. There are plenty of people who do it. I think you need to reevaluate the whole system. And right now, since we don't have CFP rankings, a lot of people put a lot of stock in the AP poll. But I'm looking forward to when the first CFP rankings come out because then the AP poll doesn't matter. And as for Indiana being 22nd, as long as you're ranked when you play Illinois, people are going to be salivating over that game because you've got 2 ranked Big Ten teams in primetime. And if you beat Illinois, the rest will take care of itself. But until then, just don't even really care about it because it does not matter.
Do you have any specific feelings on like the top 10, the Big Ten teams in the top 10?
Ohio State, they're a juggernaut. Penn State is interesting because I think they'll always be the little brother of the Big Ten. James Franklin doesn't win big games. LSU, admittedly, I only watched them play a little bit against Clemson. I don't really have much to say about LSU. Oregon killed Oklahoma State, so that doesn't surprise me.
That was brutal.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. It would not surprise me if Miami loses to USF. It really wouldn't. That
USF
game
was strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game being on the CW is crazy. I know
It's on the CW?
Yeah. Their execs are like they backed into potentially one of the biggest games of the year. And that's pretty funny. Iowa State moving up 2 spots after whatever happened in the Cyhawk game is interesting. But I don't know. Again, the AP poll is such a crapshoot. To be honest, it just doesn't really matter to me.
I have a solution to propose. I don't know how this would work logistically, but the CFP committee starts putting their rankings out around, week 10?
It's usually around Election Day. So, like, the end of October, early
First
November.
week in November.
Yeah.
What is stopping the CFP committee, if they really want to show they're looking at all of the best teams in college football, what is stopping them from just doing it from the start of the season?
You get into preseason bias. I think the reason they wait is because they want a complete body of work where they can kind of evaluate where teams stand.
I mean, I understand that. There maybe even add a different, I don't know. It's a tough solution because it's hard to do anything from the beginning of the season without bias, but you have to have numbers at the beginning of the season. The thing about the difference between the AP poll and the College Football Playoff Committee is that the CFP committee isn't necessarily watching just one game every week. They are not covering teams. They are able to pay more attention, so it might be a better look. It may not still be perfect, but that would be my thing to consider without any consideration of logistics or many other details. That is a unfinished thought.
I think the main problem with that is just the logistics of it because the committee is like acting full-time employees of other universities.
Correct.
Like athletic directors and other people that have other
I think having
obligations
sitting
and
ADs on the
responsibilities.
committee is a whole other
That's
problem.
a whole different discussion. We're not doing that today.
Yeah.
I think half the problem with that is those people have to do their duties done early just to get started by week 10, week 11, whatever the first week of November is.
First week of November is about week 8.
Is it week 8?
think
I was
it's-
going to say 8, but that
Yeah.
sounded too early.
Week 8, week 9, somewhere around there.
Whatever week, they still have to get all that stuff done. So the problem is having these people watch all these games. It turns into a full-time position on top of their full-time position. I think that's half the problem with it is just logistics. It's a great idea.
Yes,
It's just logistically, can they
I
do
put it
that?
out there that
Probably not.
logistics were not considered.
Yeah.
Another
And that's the first problem.
unfinished thought without any logistics. Why not hire full-time people to rank the college football
Well, 'cause
system?
that makes too much sense.
I know.
Yeah, you're thinking too much.
There's a lot of problems with the system, and I think it would require more time to fix than we have.
Correct.
Back to the actual rankings. Ava, how do you feel about Indiana's ranking?
I mean, I think it's fine. I think initially I maybe was a little bit like, oh, they only adjusted one spot. But then when you kind of look back at it and like, yes, they had a better win this in week 2 than in week 1, but they are only playing like non-conference games through the first 3 weeks. And they've had a lot to, yes, Ian?
No, finish your
Finish
thought.
the
I was
thought.
just-
Finish the thought. I know where he's going
I
with
just
this.
think and I think they have a lot to, and they obviously have a lot to adjust, and I just think so eventually I was after thinking about it for a second, I was okay with it because I'm they're not gonna be given any flowers, if any, until people see how they play against Illinois, they see how they play against Iowa, and essentially they see how they play against Oregon. I think those 3 games we're gonna see some adjustment for them, but it kind of makes sense right now why they are where they are, and that's how I feel about it.
I'm going to challenge that. Tennessee played East Tennessee State University and won, 72-17?
They gave up 17 points to ETSU.
And they moved up 7 spots in the AP poll to
Whoa.
number 15.
SEC.
Utah played
7 spots. Crazy.
Utah played Cal Poly and won 63-9 and moved up 5 spots in the AP poll to number 20. Alabama played UL Monroe, won 73-0 and moved up 2 spots with a 1-1 record, and they are sitting currently at 19 above Indiana. So, yeah.
They
Who
moved
does
up.
who does Tennessee play? Who does Tennessee
on.
play this week? They play Georgia.
Yeah, they do. play
Exactly.
Georgia.
And they have game day going there.
Ooh, we get a ranked matchup, 2 top 15 teams on game day. That sounds a whole lot better
Yes.
than
that's
one top 10 team and one team on the fringes of the top 25.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. It's entirely to manufacture narratives.
I also have to say that Indiana is not the media's Cinderella story team anymore, and a lot of the media does not love Indiana and their success now. And so when they're looking at that and they're evaluating Indiana, they're being very picked apart, maybe more picked apart and scrutinized than the other teams, if that makes sense. And I think that also plays into their rankings. I get what you're saying, Ian, but I also think that Indiana is very picked apart and scrutinized by a lot of the media because last year they were a fun Cinderella story and everyone was like, oh, this is great. And then they turned on them come Ohio
Yeah,
State.
that's exactly right.
Even last year, Indiana did not get the flowers that it deserved. Because you think back to, I think it was after they beat Washington, Indiana still wasn't in the top 10 because they were supposed to be bad. Everybody goes back to the Wikipedia. Oh, Indiana's the losingest FBS program.
Always.
Yeah, it's simple. Indiana's supposed to be bad. And Kurt Signetti talked about this last year. He's like, oh, we're disrupting the status quo, and a lot of people don't like that. It really is that simple. The teams, in the eyes of the media, the teams that are supposed to be good will remain good, whether they play well or whether they're inflated through the AP poll. And the teams that are supposed to be at the bottom, they will do their best to keep them at the bottom, simply because I think people don't like change.
Yeah, I've made the following point before. When you look at college basketball and you look at the tournament, you watch these Cinderella runs. Yeah, let me start that over. You're watching college basketball in the tournament. You see these Cinderella runs like Loyola Chicago, people still talk about, like Abilene Christian. People love it when they disrupt the college basketball world. When teams come in and disrupt the college football world, it's like a threat to world peace. And the two sports are extremely different. The polls and just the perceptions of everything program-wise from top to bottom is different. And that's just how college football is, and I assume that's how it will always be. You'll see Illinois be the same thing as Indiana next year. It's a Big Ten team. They're going to have high expectations. They're going to be picked apart. But this year, they're kind of riding the high, and they're in the top 10. So they'll get turned upon eventually. And then all the powerhouses, per se, will probably jump back up into the spotlight.
Fair enough. I think that's a good period point for the AP poll discussion this week. On to week 3 for Indiana football. They're going to play the Indiana State Sycamores. It's the Battle of Indiana, kind of, because there's about 86 teams here. Indiana State, the Sycamores are also 2-0. They won 38-14 last weekend versus Eastern Illinois.
Shout out Tony Romo.
Shout out Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blue Track.
Oh, that track stained my shoes. I was there.
Oh, you had to run on it?
I was there for a drum major camp in summer 2021 when I learned how to wave my arms and stuff. It was really fun. I got to conduct at Lucas Oil Stadium. But man, that track stains your shoes, and there are wasps that like to hang out inside the hurdles. Not a fun place to be.
We didn't have the hurdles problem, but the Illinois State track meet, yeah, my spikes were white with like blue and pink on them, and now they're just blue. At least the bottoms are. Anyways, the Indiana State offense, it's a spread offense run by Keegan Patterson. The thing with this offense is now they're going to be in trips or they're going to be in 5 wide, but Keegan also likes to run the football. We get flashbacks of week 1 immediately. At least Indiana's defense is going to. They're going to have to contain him. He was 11 for 17 for 111 yards in the air through 2 touchdowns, but rushing, he had 5 carries for 78 yards. Now, granted, I think one of those was for 40 yards or something, but still, that's 4 for 40 if you take out the one big play. Indiana State's total offense, 413 yards last week, and they had at least 6 plays of 20 or more yards. I couldn't get the exact play-by-play, so that's rough estimates by Stu's counting stats, which we shouldn't trust that. Their defense is a 3-4 defense. 23 players recorded a defensive stat. Senior defensive back Kimmel Clark led with 10 tackles. There was also 14 tackles for loss and 5 sacks generated by their 3-4 defense. So it's nothing Indiana hasn't seen this season specifically, but they certainly do it well. At least they did it well against who they've played so far, which is not much,
McKendree and Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
McKendree, college bowling powerhouse.
Okay.
Yeah. Indiana State, not so much. I don't even think they have a team.
Resident bowler Nick Rodecap at the pool. Indiana State, that's what we're talking about. I almost said Eastern. Indiana State, how do we feel about them?
It's a very interesting situation that Indiana State has going on offensively at the quarterback position because their usual starter, Elijah Owens, who was 28 of 37 for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns and a bunch of rushing numbers that I don't have in front of me, has a collarbone injury and will not be playing.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about Patterson. He has stats as well. They were playing they split halves between Owens and Patterson.
I think Patterson played the first 3 quarters of last week, and then they just had Owens throw a drive or 2 because he only threw the ball 10 times.
Yeah, but Owens will not be playing in Bloomington. It will be Patterson. Indiana State is at this point better than some years that they have played. They're 2-0 for the first time since 1986. But I do not think that will hold in week 3.
I wouldn't expect it to.
No, I don't think it'll hold. I mean, I lost my train of thought. Come back to me.
Real.
I totally just lost what I was about to say.
Nick, you got anything?
I think this will be, I don't know if it's going to be quite Western Illinois territory, but I think regardless of what Indiana State does offensively, Indiana's got to shore up the secondary. In a perfect world, if you're Kurt Signetti, Indiana State, kind of like Old Dominion, doesn't cross midfield, doesn't snap the ball on the plus side of the 50. I think that's a realistic expectation, especially if you're going maybe, I don't want to say a traditional backup quarterback, but one of your main options at quarterback is injured. I think Indiana State might be limited in that respect. It's definitely going to be a tough test for them, but if Purdue beat them last year, and Purdue was the worst FBS team in the country last year, I think that's at least the worst Power 4 team, then I think it's a fair expectation.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that Indiana should handle business very convincingly, regardless of who is running Indiana State's offense.
Ava,
Yeah.
did the train come back?
A little bit. I think I talked about I'm interested to see what that jump into week 3 being. And I think for me, it's just that defense stopping the big plays and that type of stuff, because that's what we've really seen be a struggle for them. And so if I'm watching this game, that's something on the improvement front that I'm looking at.
Can the Indiana Hoosier defensive backs figure out how to guard a receiver, or at least line up in front of them in a pre-snap? Apparently, that's going to be the big talking point.
I think after last week,
hope.
the answer will be yes.
You would think. I mean,
We'll see.
anyways, now to everyone's favorite part of the show, the record prediction competition update. Tied for second are 2 people. Ian and Nick with 2 whole points to their name. You got fist pumps from both of them. And tied for first with 4 points, because I got 3 this week.
I got 3 this
Me and
week.
Ava. What are you clowning me for?
I got 3 this week.
You got 3 last week. Nobody made fun of her last week.
Because she was winning.
Competition, because I was winning.
Now we're tied. Welcome to the show, homie. the rules for everyone at home who hasn't, wasn't here last week when I explained them. If you get the winner of the game correct, you get a point. You get the margin of victory correct, you get 2 points. If you get one team's score exactly correct, which I did last week, you get 2 points, which is why I got 3 points, and why Ava got 3 points 2 weeks ago. If you get both teams' score correct, you get 5 points. Now, the max points you can get per week is 8 between getting both teams' points correct, the margin, and obviously the winner correct. So no one's gotten over 3 yet, but obviously we're only in week 2 of this. What is your prediction for this week?
I've
Team
thought
Plaskoff.
long and hard about this score prediction. I think it will be close to Western Illinois territory, or Western Illinois. It will be close to that. It will not quite be that. I will be going 66-3 Indiana.
It came to me in a dream last night.
Okay. This is a horrible start.
Nah, I really thought of this on the fly this morning. 49-6 Indiana.
Interesting. If you look at the S&P Plus from Bill Connolly for some S&P Plus rankings.
The S&P 500?
Yes. Stock is low. Basically, it's tempo and opponent adjusted measure of a team's efficiency. Kennesaw State is around 90th, give or take, 158th. I gave them way too much credit. Indiana State is down at 167th. So they're actually pretty similar teams. I'm going with Indiana 62, Indiana State 3.
Oh, wow.
62-3.
One field goal.
Yes. Wow. Kind of like Western Illinois, where they kick a field goal right before halftime, and Signetti comes into the presser. He's like, I wasn't happy that we let them kick a field goal, because that's what he did with Western Illinois last year. I could see that happening again.
What did you said 66?
I said 66-3.
I'm going to go 63, and I'm going to go 6.
2 field goals.
I think 2 field goals happen.
Or
I thought a
SPAT.
touchdown would happen last week, and then apparently...
Or 3 safeties.
3
we
safeties.
could get real frisky.
There you go.
Real frisky 3 safeties.
Yeah.
If there's a safety taken, what do you think Sig would do?
You probably see smoke coming out of his ears,
Yeah.
and he'd launch up into the air and have to
He'd
parachute
just
back
turn
down like the
full
bison
red.
He'd
did.
get on the PA mic and tell everybody to go home.
He would walk up to the press box. But,
Yeah.
all right, you got to leave.
You can tell Jeff Kegg, hey, no post-game media. We're done.
Not happening.
We're done. And you just hear him lighting up the locker room like a Christmas tree.
So should we go around and recap what we said so we all have it in one spot for when I inevitably type it in the spreadsheet later?
63-6.
63-6.
I don't remember. What
You got to say yours.
I'm going around
Oh, wow.
in
okay.
that way.
Okay.
Organized.
You're going clockwise?
Yeah, we're switching
we're
it up.
going, okay.
I said 63-3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I said 49-6.
49-6, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 66-3.
63-6 for the third time.
And now, just to be clear, Indiana or Indiana State?
The team in Indiana.
I don't know, Ian. That's a hard one.
I think I would safely pick a team that's playing in Indiana.
Yeah,
I think they're going to win the game.
that's a point.
A team that has Indiana as a name in their title.
And I think that's all we got. Oh, wait, one more thing I wanted to ask about. Cal didn't care. I think it was Cal that didn't like it. Sig came out in the all red. The red hat, the red jacket.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen him wear a hat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like when you are on the load-in screen on your college football 26 Dynasty and you're selecting your coach outfits, and that's like the default one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of cool.
I thought it was interesting.
Saturday Reds.
The unique looks. Saturday Red, Sunday Red. Indiana baseball did not have a... Maybe that's why IU's defense was so bad.
Oh boy.
Where are you going with
It's
this?
because Indiana
I thought it was
baseball...
because Jeff Mercer was
Indiana
there.
baseball got rid of the Sunday Reds because they sucked so bad when
Yeah.
they wore them.
Rip
So
Sunday
maybe
Reds.
the spirit of the Sunday Reds transferred to Kurt Signetti's hat. Don't be shocked.
What?
The betting line for him wearing a white polo on Friday night is like minus 350. And the red, like track jacket,
Should we
quarter zip
add-
type of thing is probably like
No.
plus
Don't even-
550.
We should
And
add
the hat is plus 100,000 because I don't think he's going to wear it again.
you get half a point if you predict Kurt Signetti's shirt and outfit.
I think it's white polo or bust this week.
I think he wears all black.
Oh, black.
Ooh.
Oh, remember the last time IU wore black uniforms?
No.
Akron,
Oh.
2023.
Yikes.
4 overtimes. So Indiana or Indy. No,
Okay,
we're not going there
You're
again.
not doing the thing.
Or actually, I changed my response. He's gonna wear his red top, black pants.
Like just a
always
red
wears.
polo?
No,
No, like what we wore last week.
No,
the red
it's gonna
jacket.
he's got this like red shirt he's always in.
It's going to be
You know.
85 degrees
It's like
during the day.
It's like a
I'll take the red polo pick.
I'm going white polo.
We got 2 people for red and 1 for white. What's your answer?
Neon green.
Yeah, he's going
Like
full
one of
sixth
the
grader
play
fit.
callers on the
Full-
sideline.
Oh, he's actually he's trading shirts with Justice.
Yeah.
I think he goes white. White
All
something.
right, we're
White
split.
top.
We're a room divided.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be you're under the light, so I don't think he's gonna go red.
For legal reasons, none of this is betting advice. If you can find lines on Kurt
I was
Cignetti's
gonna say,
outfit,
if
I
there's
will give you
lines
$100 cash.
You heard the man. Somebody go make a line on the scorebook right now and get your $100.
All right.
But
have
that'll
a
do
point.
it for this week on Pack the Rock podcast. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to keep up with us for all your football needs. Keep up with us. I'm William Stewart. To the left of me, Ian Plaskoff, and across from us, Ava Wegenke and Nick Rodecap. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the Hoosier Network account on Twitter and Instagram for all your Indiana athletics updates, which includes football and men's soccer, the #1 team in the country, and all the other 22 other sports that reside on this campus. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.